Hello, RotoBallers. I'm Matt Donnelly, and you know what time it is? It is time for draft season to officially kick off. The Combine, it is just a few weeks away, so now is the perfect time to take a look at my top rookie prospects pre-Combine edition, starting with my top 10 wide receivers. At number 10, Jaylen Powell out of Washington. Now, I already know that I'm going to be moving Powell up at some point here. He is one of my guys. It's really that simple. His film shows that at the catch point, he has elite ball tracking traits, including being able to put his body in the best position to come down not only with the ball, but to also shield off the defender. While he doesn't necessarily have what you would call elite speed, he finds ways to create separation. Heck, there's times where he goes from very slow to slow and seems to catch those defensive backs on their heels. He also does a very good job there at running his routes. He does a variety of those, and he's got an ability to find those soft spots in zone coverage. Now, what really separates him from everybody else is his toughness and his ability to come down with a catch after contact. You know when you're going to take that big hit, you come down with the ball, that is going to endear yourself to your future quarterback. At number 9, this is going to catch me some heat. I already know it. It's Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Now, most people don't expect Worthy to be this low on a list, and it's not that I don't like him, it's just I feel that the tier of wide receivers in this range, nobody has been able to separate themselves ahead of the Combine. Worthy, to his credit, he can line up anywhere, and he excels with those speed outs, which are becoming more and more popular with offensive coordinators with smallish wide receivers. Unfortunately for small receivers or receivers of Worthy's size and stature, durability is a real concern. He's going to go out there and give you 5 or 6 solid fantasy outings, but he may also miss several weeks because of his size and because of those injury risks associated with it. Availability is the most important ability for me, and for me, this is a red flag in Worthy's case. Best case scenarios, you're going to get yourself a tank Dell in both production and injury risk. So you have to ask yourself, is the risk worth the reward? At number 8, Roman Wilson out of Michigan, and I'm already strongly considering moving Wilson up my rankings before the Combine. I feel that this ranking may be a little too low right now. If you're looking for one of those wide receivers who can produce at all areas of the field, it's Wilson. Short, intermediate, deep, it doesn't matter. We've seen him take reverses, take those handoffs, take them for big yards, and we've also seen him make big plays over the middle on dig routes and posts. So he's also been able to show that he has a willingness to go to places that other pass catchers simply aren't willing to do. Day one, Wilson will be able to step in on an NFL field in an NFL offense and help his team win and have success in doing so because he can line up anywhere on the field and attack at any level. Now, don't think that Wilson is going to be that alpha wide receiver because he probably isn't. We've seen Big Ten defenses kind of take him away at times. But you know what? He's going to make a pretty good Robin to someone's Batman, kind of like Devontae Smith is to A.J. Brown. At number 7, Lad McConkey out of Georgia. Ain't nobody wanted anything to do with McConkey down in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. He was making dudes look silly trying to defend him. Arguably the best route runner in this year's draft class, McConkey always seems to find himself open, which should equate nicely when we talk about must-have fantasy assets, especially in PPR formats. At the next level, a smart offensive coordinator, they're going to manufacture touches for McConkey that play to his speed, elusiveness, and his high football IQ. McConkey is a fighter, plain and simple. He's not going to break off many tackles, but you know what? It's not going to stop him from trying. So you get the ball into his hand, you are going to get the most out of him each and every down. Now at number 6, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. Franklin is the 6th wide receiver I see going in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. It is hard to argue against the production. 81 receptions, 1,383 yards, 14 touchdowns. Taking it a little further, he averaged 3.32 yards per route run and forced 14 missed tackles. That's more forced missed tackles than Marvin Harrison Jr. At 6'3", he has the size and he's going to have the speed as well, as we are expecting him to run in that 4.35 to 4.4 range at the Combine, which bodes well for his prospects. Now Franklin, he's going to have to clean up the drops. There were some big drops last season because at times he was giving me some serious Marquez Valdez-Scantling vibes, and nobody wants that. But with a little bit of seasoning there, he can develop into much more than just a deep threat. At number 5, Keon Coleman out of Florida State, 6'4", 215 pounds. Coleman could find himself moving up a spot or two before the draft takes place, as long as he can demonstrate at the Combine that he can use that size to his advantage over elite defenders. Even though he was skinny, he's not exactly afraid to mix it up off the line of scrimmage. He plays physical, and you know what? If defenders decide to press him, he's going to be able to shed that and get on to the next level. He attacks the ball like no other when it is up in the air, and when he comes down, good luck trying to tackle him. Coleman does an excellent job shielding the ball from defenders, especially on back shoulder throws and those fade passes. But despite his size and his ability to high point the ball, he still, for some reason, loses more often than not when it comes to those contested catches. He's also been somewhat consistent and had some, let's call them dud games this past season, which for a player of his skill set probably should not happen. But if he lives up to his skill set, he could be a future top 12 fantasy wide receiver, mark my words. At number 4, we're going to go with another big man here, Brian Thomas out of LSU. For a big man, he moves pretty well. He has shown some good elusiveness in his college days. Thomas is a wide receiver who could end up being a first-round selection, meaning a team could be willing to take a chance on him on the back half of the NFL draft and make him a focal point of their offense, much like the Chiefs did with Rashee Rice. Now, the Combine is going to go a long way towards how we view Thomas in fantasy. He has all the tools, including that size-speed combination, along with an ability to track the ball when it's up in the air and that ability to go up and get it. Thomas will need to improve as a route runner, as he has been more of a deep threat at LSU than anything else. So he's going to have to work on sinking those hips and getting in and out of those cuts if he wants to be productive at the next level. At number 3, Rome Odunsi out of Washington. That's right, we got 2 Huskies in my top 10. Odunsi, he is my 4th favorite pass catcher behind Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Brock Bowers. So if you're looking at those standard league drafts, that's how I have him. Now, watching Odunsi, the first thing that stands out to me is his body control, which may be amongst the best wide receivers in this class. In fact, it's earned him some comparisons to Larry Fitzgerald, coupled with an elite ball tracking skill set and an ability to win at the high point there, much like Mike Evans does. In each of Odunsi's 4 seasons in college, we saw an improvement from year 1 to his final season in his receiving yards per team's passing attempts, going from 1.53 to 2.85 in that 4th season. You want a wide receiver that's going to make the difficult catches look easy? That's Odunsi summed up rather nicely. At number 2, maybe this is a shocker to some, but it's Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. Harrison, he slides into number 2 here because maybe I'm just a little tired of hearing about how good he actually is, and maybe I want to give Malik Neighbors a little respect. The truth is they're both great pass catchers in their own rights, and Harrison, he's more than qualified to be the first overall fantasy selection in your rookie drafts. Harrison has a great understanding of when to break off a route and when to sit into a zone. He's also going to be a quarterback's best friend come Sundays. Being 6'4", that doesn't hurt either. Not only is he a deep threat because of his deep speed, but he has an ability to effectively use his double moves to create separation. Heck, Harrison Jr. is a dream wide receiver for Jameis Winston. Close his eyes, throw it up there, go YOLO! Harrison Jr. is going to find a way to come up with the ball, as he has a great ability to win those contested catches. But the one area that I do have a little bit of concern about, and I'm nitpicking here admittingly, is physical defensive backs have been able to get inside him and slow down his timing with his quarterback. Those windows in the NFL, they're a little bit smaller than they are in college football, so that's something to kind of keep an eye on, something Harrison Jr. is going to have to work on. That means, number 1, Malik Neighbors. Now, I view Harrison Jr. and Neighbors as 1A, 1B. They're pretty much interchangeable when it comes to pass catchers in this year's draft. Neighbors, he's going to be able to step in day 1, use his size, speed, and ability to make explosive plays after the catch and contribute immediately. You can't go wrong with either one of these wide receivers, but where they land could be the difference in how we view it for fantasy. As far as having Neighbors currently over Harrison, it may seem a little hot-takey to some people, but down in Mobile, Alabama, Matt Miller reported that several scouts did have Neighbors higher than Harrison in their rankings. Neighbors, he's giving me that Isaac Bruce type feel, coming in at 6 foot, 200 pounds, which is basically the archetype here for today's wide receivers to have success. Neighbors is an excellent route runner who possesses that quickness and change of direction, which is why he found success after the catch. If you could splice the DNA of Garrett Wilson and DJ Moore, you have yourself Malik Neighbors. Now, some wide receivers who could find themselves in the top 10 with a good combine performance: Donnelly Mitchell out of Texas, Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky, Xavier Leggett there out of South Carolina, Javon Baker out of Central Florida, and Devontae Walker out of North Carolina as well. As always, hit that like and subscribe button to ensure that you do not miss any content coming your way on the RotoBaller YouTube channel, and head over to rotoballer.com for all your latest fantasy football news and analysis. See you next time.